Welcome everyone to my review of the Inwin Tou 2.0. Inwin have become known for their incredibly high-end creative and artistic cases. And I think they've really become the inspiration for the entire industry when it comes to their case designs and ideas. And this is thanks to their business model of targeting a niche market with limited edition, very high-end cases. If you take a look at their current lineup of full tower cases, you'll see cases like the S-frame, the H-tower, which is actually a robotic case which opens up with the press of a button, the Winbot, which is an acrylic sphere, and the Z-tower, which I can't even begin to explain. I don't even know how this thing was built. It just looks like an art piece. But the Z-tower is a $5,500 US case. The Inwin Tou 2.0 is an $1,800 case. And so cost unconstrained, there is nothing that they can't do, and they can create these incredible cases, new ideas, cases with a lot of character. Any of these cases, it doesn't matter which angle you look at them from, you know what they are straight away. But also choosing such complicated and challenging manufacturing processes, such as creating an acrylic sphere and something like the Z-tower, also the Inwin Tou 2.0, very difficult, challenging manufacturing process. It shows their confidence and ability, and it's really incredible. I mean, the Inwin Tou 2.0, it's not so much the tempered glass, the 5mm thick tempered glass on all of the outer panels. It's actually more the chassis itself, the frame, which a lot has gone into. I'm pretty sure the way this is manufactured is it's actually welded by hand. So they've created a jig to stop it from warping, and then they have to weld all of these individual pieces together and then grind back the welds, sand back the frame to make it look like it was never welded. You know, it always wants to warp. There's probably a very high scrap rate. It's done by somebody who is very skilled with metalwork. This is not an easy product to build at all. And because of that, it's definitely not something that you would want to produce in massive numbers. And that's what makes it really expensive and, you know, also beautiful and gives it this amazing character. The tower comes with 3 LED strips included, daisy-chained around the inside of the frame, pointing in towards the components. Lighting is extremely important because the tempered glass acts as a one-way mirror, so you can only see the internals when the lights are on. The lights are dimmable and have touch-sensitive controls, which is a really nice feature. You just drag your finger across this to dim the lights or to turn them up, and there's also a touch-sensitive power button on the right-hand side there. So this is the badge for the limited edition case. As you can see, this is number 222 out of 500. We have another power button, which is a Vandal switch. It's on the bottom front. For front I/O, we have audio in and out, USB 3x3, USB-C 3.1, and we also have a hard drive activity and power LED. You can see that we have a lot of cables here, and this is because of all of the options on the front I/O, but also because of the touch-sensitive controls and power button, which actually requires a 24-pin inline connection, which does make custom cables a little difficult, but not impossible, and you don't have to use it. You also have the Vandal switch power button. This case also comes included with a power supply, and the power supply matches the case very nicely. It's very unique. We'll take a look at it later on in the video. Looking at the top panel here, this case fits a 360mm radiator on the top, and this is one of the very few panels which is actually open and has any ventilation because we have the tempered glass on all sides. But this is built from thick aluminium sheet. It's probably laser or water jet cut because of the very sharp corners, and then it has a hexagon mesh panel underneath. There are no dust filters anywhere on this case, and I can completely understand this decision because it would have destroyed the whole tempered glass transparency idea and aesthetic. But personally, I don't like dust filters. I just find them to be extremely ineffective, and they almost always destroy the aesthetics of a build. So I'm certainly not going to be taking any marks off this case for the lack of dust filters. I think that it was a good decision, mainly on this case. But there are very big gaps everywhere, even the cutouts in the bottom panel underneath the power supply, for example. You know, you could easily get your fingers through them. There are gaps all the way around the outsides of the tempered glass. So you can see that in many ways, they have moved away from the practical and more towards the artistic, which is kind of what you expect with this case at first glance. So now that I've removed the 9 pieces of 5mm thick tempered glass, which are attached to the case in an interesting way, so there's no holes in the tempered glass, they've used adhesive to attach the mounts, and then these little push clips that mount the glass to the case. They're quite easy to remove, although I do suggest a flathead screwdriver. But I had all of the glass off the case in about, I guess, 8 minutes, so it doesn't take that long. It's not that difficult. But it's amazing how simple the design actually is, and it's because of the big, thick chassis, which now you can finally get a proper look at this amazing chassis, and then all of the pieces bolting to this. But it's a real testament to their thought process, because a lot of people's take on high-end is just to add more and more complexity. But I would say there would be less than 15 pieces here. The case can fit up to eATX motherboards. It has 8 expansion slots. Maximum CPU cooler height is 185mm. Maximum GPU length is 345mm, even with the hard drive bays installed. Maximum PSU length is basically unlimited. You have that entire lower compartment for the PSU and cables, and that's going to make cable routing very easy because you have all of that space down the bottom, and you also have plenty of space around the back. Right up in the corner, which you're not really going to use, it is only 10mm, but then it very quickly expands out to 40mm. The case can fit up to 5 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drives. The motherboard tray is built from a massively thick 3mm thick piece of aluminium sheet. There is a bit of aluminium sheet, the motherboard tray, top panel, bottom panel, and then also some folding, the rear I/O, the hard drive bays, the PSU mount. So a lot of different manufacturing processes here. The case can fit 2 360mm radiators, roughly 65mm full thickness, so 40mm for the radiator and 25 for the fans. But on the front you could definitely fit a thicker radiator if you removed the hard drive bays, probably right up to 85mm. So here you can see all of the individual pieces, and you can see on the glass they opted not to drill holes for the mounts. They used adhesive instead, but this was not to cut costs. It was to make the case look cleaner, no doubt, because if you were to drill holes, it just adds a lot of complexity and cost, and then the case would not have looked anywhere near as clean. So you can see here the included accessories, just the usual things, fasteners, and also a really nice microfiber cloth for cleaning the glass. Now finally a look at this incredible PSU. This would have to be one of the coolest looking PSUs on the market, very high end, very much like the case with the 5mm thick tempered glass on the sides so that you can fully see the internals of the PSU, a very unique idea. The internal lighting is like a yellowy orange, and yes, you can switch it off. There's a switch on the back of the PSU. Beautiful big billet section on the bottom, probably CNC machined, very expensively made. Extra large fan, probably very silent PSU, so you can see the light switch on the back there. There's also a charging port, which is a nice little feature. So definitely an amazing PSU which really matches the case nicely. The Inwin 1065W. This is the inline 24-pin connection for the touch power button. For me, the most exciting thing about these high-end cases from Inwin is the innovation. Inwin is always trying something new. Some of these ideas may seem a little crazy, but who knows, they could be the ideas of the future. Robotic cases, spheres, crazy cases like the Z Tower. I mean, who knows what Inwin is going to do next, and I am really excited to think about the possibilities. I'm going to give this case a 9.5 out of 10. For me, this case is pretty much perfect all around. It has everything that I would like to see from a case. The only reason I'm taking off 0.5 is because I really believe in Inwin when it comes to improvement. I'm sure that they could find some way of improving. But that sums up this video. Thanks for watching.